But daily updating. So then I will share. Now, what subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share for comment section. Rashid Tanko, Deputy Director of Election, my NDC, Waka Dr. Rashid Tanko, who asem. He answer say Dr. Rashid Tanko. Yes, Dr. Rashid Tanko. You be sorry, waka another Dompre one sem. Any answer say another Dompre. He say a high court and more grant substituted service. You can substitute service. I said court no man akonya no was serving a letter to appeal court to sermon to what to get rid of him from a certain place he don't deserve to be. Then the banners also court to grant him substitute service. They can serve him through his office. Or bet him their tarene car, or bet him their corner office, or bet him their code fee. Into court grant him permission. Into another prayer is not a lucky person again. And to say no makwa seven when fee according to Dr. Rashida going to say another prayer seven a year constituted service a chance ombra a year court no ombra me defending and sama ye charges ye abono no go to Dr. Rashid Tanko Emra.
So they will have the original. So in an event you are going to cross-check, you cross-check from the original. They don't have. We don't have. MPP said they don't have. Now, what the MPP told us in that meeting was that they have scanned copies. We say, oh, Evan, stop that. You know, we don't deal with scanned copies in our electoral matters. Our electoral system is purely a manual process. We fill the pin sheet manually. They give me copy, you take your copy. We don't bring scanned copies during collation center.
But eventually you agreed to use the scan.
No, who agreed where? That's where I'm coming from. I said they don't learn from their mistakes. We all agree that these scanned copies will not be used. Then people said, okay, they will go. It's like they will go and find out. It seems they have it. They will bring it. They will say, if you come back in the next meeting that we are going to hold about this matter, and you come with your copies, the carbon copies, we will cross-check and find out whether they are original, like how we did Dompre. Those 3 ones, we brought physical ones, not scanned copies. That's why I'm saying that they shouldn't be comparing apples to oranges. We brought hard copies. The presiding officer came and looked. Yes, this is mine.
No, but eventually in the case of Ablekuma North, some agreements or concessions were made.
Where?
With the 62.
No, we didn't.
I see.
We stood by our 62. You see, what they did was complete kokofu. It wasn't part of us. They did their own thing. They did their own thing. You know, we went to court after the mandamus. We ran for an appeal against it and a stay of execution. That we didn't participate in that process. But some of our officers in the constituencies, I'm saying they didn't know that we have filed this thing. Did you see our candidate there? Arabna was not there.
Well, occasionally she passed by.
No, Arabna was not. It was when these people started and we heard that they were doing Ablekuma. I said, no, I can't do that. So this boy went there to stop them.
So you're saying on record that the entire Ablekuma North recollation efforts that have failed, about at least 4 times, if it's failed, the NDC was not officially part of it?
No, we were not officially part of it.
So the constituency executives who were there, what were they doing there?
They were friends of the process, to stop the process, because they know what they were doing is illegal. It wasn't official. That's why you didn't see any senior member of our party there. Did you see any regional executive or national officer there?
I do not have a recollection of that.
The thing is that what they were doing, we're not party to it. We thought it was illegal. You can't use scanned copies of our opponent. Look, I have a background in graphic design. Give me a laptop, and I will design a pink sheet for you within a twinkle of an eye, and put figures on it. If I bring it on a collation center and say this is a scanned copies that the NDC was given, will you accept it? If you're an electoral officer and you accept it, means you are colluding with me to rig the election for my opponent. That is what they were doing. The MPP came with scanned copies and the Electoral Commission were accepting it. Why are they doing that? That's why I described them as crooked officers.
Well, but perhaps if you do that. No, hang on. Perhaps because the constituency executives admitted, because this Ablekuma North issue, as I remember it, it moved from 62, it came to 41. Now there were about 11 copies that needed to be. That's when they brought in some of the polling station executives, and one of them had indicated that I do not know this document that you are showing me.
You see, that's why I say it even defeats the whole effort that we're trying to do. I told you, this MPP, they are masters in faking pink sheets and concocting figures. That has been their modus operandi.
I do not know that.
I'll give you an example. Didn't you see the presiding officer came and said, this is not my document?
Yes.
So where did they come from? Somebody concocted it and designed it and was forcing on the EC. And these EC officers who were there were trying to use it. So how will you describe these people?
So two things are happening. The Electoral Commission wants to sit with the NPP and the NDC to forge a way forward for Ablekumanos. We also know that you are in court over this matter. What is going to happen now? Because you have the majority in the House, your House is incomplete, and it would appear that, we are just watching the wheel of time move.
You see, the right person must represent Ablekumanos people in the chamber, not an illegal person. You see, that has been our position, NDC. It's not that we don't want Ablekumanos to be declared, but we want the right person. For instance, we have about 6 or so illegal officers in Parliament now. We are chasing them. They were declared illegally and sworn in, and we are going to go after them. One of them is already in hot shoe.
Are you referring to Tema Central?
Not Tema Central. This Akotia.
Enekumi.
Yes. He's in hot waters.
He's also at the Supreme Court.
But the Supreme Court asked him, he's only lucky they asked him he should stay the sentencing.
To discuss it, yes.
Not he has already been charged criminally and convicted. He's a convict now. Are you aware of that?
We know about the
Yes, it's always described now. He's a convict of the court. He's now only left with sentences. He's like his Supreme Court said they shouldn't sentence him, that they should hold on it. But he's a convict. Let's agree on that. Others are following. Look, I know Dompre. We have gotten him through substituted service. We posted in his house, on his door. We'll get him too. They are fugitives of investigation and all that.
Very well.
The president look at it clearly. If you have any evidence against him, bring it. The fact that people are just banding things around social media and other things is not enough, because the president is sitting on a lot of intelligence. You think the president, if he hasn't got enough intelligence from the military high command and other things, he would have put him there. This is a former president. He knows what he's doing. He's not a fresh president that you can just come and bundle anything on his face and think that he will go with it. He will do his own background checks about you. He will make sure that he get his security service. In fact, now we call them BNI. It used to be called BNI. It's now NIB. We have to even change that name.
You want to change that name?
Of course. Very
Why?
soon. Oh, what is NIB? What is NIB?
National Investigative
Bureau. The scope
Bureau.
is too small. The scope is too small. We're going to widen the scope.
And
Yes.
how will the BNI widen the
Very
Bureau
soon.
of National Investigations?
Very soon. Work is ongoing on that.
To change the name?
Yes,
I see.
to bring it so that the scope will now be properly structured. Clearly, if you have any evidence against him, bring it. The fact that people are...
Ablekumanos, the Electoral Commission is now saying they want to sit with both the NDC and the NPP to find an amicable solution to the lack of representation at the moment in Parliament for the constituents in that area. What's the NDC's position on this?
You see, Kevin, this Electoral Commission, they have not been learning from their past mistakes. They don't learn from their past experiences as well. See, I told them that, look, this thing that they are doing, the last IPAC, before the one held, we were there when this Ablekumanos issue came. And it was an issue about 62 polling stations on that day. Something happened. Violence happened. We don't know where it came from. Disruption, and 62 polling stations could not be accounted for. Okay, so the results was declared. Now you people sat in your office. You don't have that power yet, and said, no, you won't accept the results. And refused to gazette the declared result because 62 were not there. Then we said, fine, no problem. Then we sat and discussed about it. Then they told us point blank at the meeting presided by the deputy commissioner in charge of operation that they don't have single pink sheet of this 62. They don't have. They are supposed to have the originals. We have photocopy, carbon copies. They give us carbon copies. Regime. They don't care. You can go to hell. Some small cabal were just sitting here next to your next door neighbors. They were your next door neighbors here, doing whatever they wanted to do and mess up the country.
I don't understand when you say they were our next door
your neighbors. Flagstaff House, they were here. We don't know in Flagstaff House.
But you two are also there.
And now you see difference. Now can't you see the difference?
No, I can't.
The difference is very clear. We respect everybody. We open up the place. We are even going to have independence celebration. Is that not true? We have not made governor to look like Chief Palace, where every ordinary person can go there That's all we have done. Come to see what is going on now. It's very lovely. It's not like those days you are passing there as if there are some military rulers who are sitting there. You can't come near it. Or some wild dogs are just hanging around there because they fear their own shadows. We are not like that. That's why I'm saying that things have changed. Now, this aura is going to find out for the 8 years, what have you done with our resources? Accountability is key. That's why the president warned his appointees, all of us. This oral thing that I'm doing is just watch. You to misbehave will come after you. I don't see admonishing everybody.
So then, again, help clarify the point on oral, because as the president explained during his sona, oral will take a different form and operate from the presidency. It will also look into the activities and affairs of the appointees of the current administration. Will that be the case?
Yes. You see, the Ekemeni, let me say good afternoon to my good friend, Professor Dodo. You know, he's the presidential advisor on anti-corruption issues at the presidency. If you know Professor Dodo very well, you know that President Mama means business by appointing somebody like that. Professor Dodo, he used to be a former vice chancellor of Lego and a former president of a Ghana Olympic Committee, a very seasoned researcher. He is the presidential advisor on anti-corruption drive. This man, I've worked with him, and I know the kind of person he is. You give Professor Dodo 100 cedis to go and do an assignment. You have calculated 100 cedis. He will go and do 50 cedis and say 50 cedis can do that and bring your 50 cedis back to you. He's sitting there. If you come, he has a very modest, simple life. Such a big person, you see him very simple life. And Professor Dodo is watching everybody. Don't look if you misbehave, I'll bring you to the limelight. I don't care. Ghanaian people deserve better. Don't think because we are in power, you can misbehave and get away with it. So Ora is in the office. He's sitting there for government officials and appointees. We are not going to shield anybody. He said it severally. We have been, look, I say we have been there before. We have learned our lessons. We have learned our lessons a lot. And that's why I'm saying that Ghanaians are so, look, they should be thankful that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is back to power because he has the benefit of hindsight. He's been there before, vice president, president, and back again. So he has the benefit of hindsight. We are not going to repeat this kind of thing that people did. People were carrying their own chairs around. Nobody could touch that chair. It has its own this V8 carrying it all over the place. They will go and tell chiefs that get up and greet me. You cannot sit and greet me. They don't know that the chiefs are the custodians of the land. They didn't care. They were behaving like some King Nebuchadnezzar, and therefore any king, paramount chief, get up. This is not that type of president we have. Down to earth president, respectful and all that. So he wants his appointees to behave safe. The resources that they are giving to is for ordinary Ghanaians, for their better, not for ourselves. Okay, we are to make sure that, look, what they will give you at the end of the month, that is what you deserve. Okay, but you don't go plunder the resources because you have access to it. You plunder and the ordinary people are suffering. Can't you see that Accra is now getting brighter in the night? The regional minister.
Is that the case?
No.
What has the regional minister done?
She has started. All street lights.
I see.
She started fixing them. Okonglo, pass through Okonglo and all this, and you see that in the night it's like you are in London. Very bright. For 8 years, some people were collecting your money. Anytime you go to buy ECG power, they take a street light.
So I thought ECG will be the one doing the street light.
It is somebody might use his head to make sure that that thing comes out. That money must come and do that work.
We'll have to
but somebody has picked it and they are pocketing it. Look at the ECG debt alone. Only God knows.
Who has pocketed what? That we haven't.
Somebody
has pocketed. Let's clarify the point, because that ECG debt you talk about.
Yes.
There was misuse and mismanagement of money.
Yes.
But I didn't read anywhere in that report that said that somebody stole money or embezzled funds of ECG. So let's clarify the point.
ECG was not run by ghosts. They were run by human beings.
What does that?
Ghost doesn't plunder money.
What does that mean?
It means when you say there was misuse of money, is that not what?
Yeah, because the money meant for hang on. No, don't mislead my viewers. The money meant for the cash waterfall mechanism, for instance, ended up going into other expenses that were not, earmarked for. So it didn't go into somebody's pocket. So when you say there was plan. You give the impression that someone stole the money, but I'm saying the report hasn't told us that someone stole the money.
Kemeni.
Yes.
See, Ghanaians, that's how we are. We don't call speed a speed. Sometimes we call it shovel or long spoons. ESLA, which was meant to service energy sector debt.
Yeah.
These people collected, you hear the amount the president mentioned, huge sums of money. Yet they left debt for us. Where's from that? Where did they use the money? What did they use the money for? Were there ghosts who were handling those funds?
That money was also mortgaged to.
I am saying that. You see, that is why I'm saying that. It is only when the frog that you see the long life. Wait and see. We are going to it. There's a team working on that.
Looking into that.
That one. We will get them. When people were just carrying money in containers or water tanks in their house, where were they getting the money from? When people open bank accounts in their rooms, bank accounts had several dollars, pounds, euros, everything, all the currencies in the world were in their bedroom. Where were they getting the money from?
Is your administration looking into those issues
of course,
that you have raised?
Of course, Kemeni, we are looking after these people. We'll get plenty of money for this country. You wait and see. Because all these people, they will vomit their money back. They can't do this to this country and get away. You see, when we do this, they say persecution. You want to persecute. How are you going to persecute people who were sleeping on top of money under their bedrooms? You can't do this to this country and get away. Chiefs were even complaining about that. They are state security.
Richard Jakpa is now state security.
Richard Jakpa is the director of operations, special operations at National Security. Right. That's one thing people don't know. He's the director of special operations at National Security. He led the operation. All the team members he used were state apparatus, state security.
They were not people who had recently been drafted.
No. They were not. They were people existing state security. He's the only person who is a new person among the team that led there.
Right.
Okay. Therefore worked with me in the directorate. Very professional ex-military officer. People put a lot of hoodlums into the state security. They are just not professional. Some of them were even arrested by themselves. NDP administration as armed robbers. State security. Some were police, some soldiers arrested. I mean, you covered it.
Well, I mean, and you are putting that at a doorstep of the NPP. I mean, I'm trying to understand the point.
We don't know the people who recruited them. What kind of investigative background did they do about those people before putting them in the secret? I remember those days.
But you know those are not isolated.
They became rampant under their regime because a lot of the armed robberies were led by these guys.
Which guys?
Military and police guys. And they were just recently recruited guys from 2017, 2018, thereabout.
Which investigation shows what
I'm
you're
saying
saying?
That we have it. Anytime they send them to court and they were looking at their numbers, staff numbers and other things, it indicated that there were new people.
New recruits.
New recruits put in there. And I'm saying that these are the problem we have with these people. What kind of, even currently, do you know the people they sent just recently for training? Our team went there. It will marvel you. How can you go and put a 41-year lady to go in for a training? What is that? It's such an old lady. These are the people they were doing. And some of them, look, I said very soon you hear a lot of stories. They sold some of the slots to the people.
I see.
They didn't do any background check. Bring money in and back the ground.
So,
and then they are there. They brought them plenty like that for training. So I pity them. I look at them and I look at what kind of investigation background did they do about these people before bringing them for training?
So I'm trying to understand again. Let's take on the subject matter of Richard Jakpa, who it's now the Director of Special Operations at the National Security Secretariat. Now, this was a gentleman who was undergoing trial, so to speak. Just to clarify the point, he was on trial for causing financial loss to the state. Subsequently, the case was, cleared and dropped against him. And then the new administration decides that we will draft the businessman into our national security. And we also given the backdrop that his military credentials were called into question. How do you convince the Ghanaian people that you haven't just repeated what you're accusing the previous administration of?
I see, sometimes I look at these people and I say, I don't understand them. When the Attorney General went to court and entered nolle prosequi, he was part of it. He and our current minister. You remember the episode? Well, we even held press conference about it. Yeah. When the then Attorney General was forcing Jakpa to implicate the current finance minister.
Oh, that is the
evidence. And I'm saying that matter, that led to the quashing. The same court also quashed the matter, the issues. So he was not under investigation because they only went for appeal. The appeal was pending, right?
Right.
When we came and said that this man, you didn't even have evidence. You were even forcing the other, the persons you were prosecuting to implicate the other person. Wasn't that what they were doing? That's why we thought that these people didn't have any evidence against them.
So again, let me clarify the question I'm asking. I'm not going back to the trial. I am asking, based on what credentials are you putting Richard Jakpa in the in national security? Again, given the backdrop that he was undergoing trial, he was subsequently released from the trial, discharged from the trial. His military credentials had come up. This was supposed to be a businessman, not a member of the NDC. And so, what was the credential? I mean, how do you convince the Ghanaian people you're not doing the same thing that you accuse the NPP of doing, filling national security apparatus with your people?
Jakpa is a fine ex-military officer. He has no any issue against him at all whatsoever. Even when they brought that military thing, that reporting, he was not indicted for any crime. He just didn't want to do the job again. He just didn't want to do it. So we didn't even know the reason why they brought that and to do what. Because if reading the document that they exhibited, the NPP were banding around, didn't implicate him in anything. It's just that the gentleman felt that I was not interested in doing the job again. And he exited. No case against him. This trial thing, you have just said it. They were acquitted and discharged. There was no issue against them. He's a fine gentleman, a brainy young man in terms.
So midnight seat contentious, then they have 6 honorable members omo be go after them in their seat ewo mmarahyɛ badwafi ana obɛbɔ ano Dompre di sa ano Dompre ni seat no enye seat bia safe for him nti no on court our grant him substitution service a omo de akopemu ano Dompre ni fie na bobo ano na omo de amane sa ano Dompre say na court wo kenti no efiri na ekro no wo ye mmarahyɛ badwani a twentwen so ne bra na yem kansem no kopem sɛ ebewie pɛyɛ na wanya sa title no nti no we na ensema Dr. Rashid Tanko edit to dwa.